Hello everybody, it's Lucy Wolfe here, sleep consultant and author of the Baby Sleep Solution. I hope that you're really well today. I have loads and loads of DMs that I try and get through. Loads of times I can't answer the questions because I just don't have the time. But today I just wanted to cover a couple of questions that have come in, and it'll give you an idea of what I think you will be doing when you're running into difficulties and you're using my book and you're using the Stay in Sport approach. So the first message that's coming here that I was going to cover was that this family has started on Sunday night. So that's only, it's only Tuesday today, okay? So the first night went very well. The child woke twice, but tonight he's been up already 7 times. Now again, I suppose I don't have any information here. I don't know how old this child is. I don't know what the problems were in advance. I don't know what the changes that the parents have made. So it's always really difficult for me, unless I'm working with you directly, to really get in underneath it. But I suppose it's a general response that I'm going to give. So what Mum has said now is that he's been up 7 times. He's up for extended periods of time. He's been crying and screaming and completely losing it. And then when Mum has picked him up, he's gone to sleep straight away. So I guess in some ways I almost shouldn't have picked this question because I don't have enough information, but I'll try and pick through it with you. For starters, whenever we're starting a sleep improvement exercise, it's going to go up and down. So if it starts off going well on night 1, it's not unusual for it to be really awful on night 2, or if it's really awful on night 1, it's not unusual for it to be better on night 2. But then you see, as the few days go by, everything starts to improve. The one thing that I would look at here with this particular child is, and I'm going to assume he's over 6 months, that he is he's ready for change, and that so are the parents. But I suppose I'm not too sure what they're changing, and this is where, let's say, the issues come for me, that I just don't have enough information. But I suppose when he's been awake so much last night and been so upset, I wonder if perhaps he was very under-rested from the day yesterday, and that this has contributed to the high level of upset on his part, and that he's finding it really difficult to process. In this instance, you're gonna have to assess it to see, does this feel right? Are we, making the right changes? Have we processed the information from the book as best as we possibly can? And can we still continue to work through this? And do we see this as being the right approach for us as a little family unit? And again, one of the telling things here is that when Mum picks him up, he immediately goes to sleep on her again. So I guess I'm guessing that it's possible that holding to sleep or something similar is what they're changing. So again, it's just a case of trying to be as loving and predictable as they possibly can. But I suppose looking at the daytime layout, and I'm suspecting that the gap before bedtime was too big, or maybe the daytime sleep just wasn't enough. And I suppose I would hope that today you could look at this further and you could try to get him better rested. The other consideration is that he's starting to teeth, or he's starting to become unwell, and this has given you the kind of big differential between last night and the night before. But I suppose very often the first night it can sometimes give you a bit of a false read in the situation, and then you have a really difficult night. And then tonight, hopefully, if everything else is being observed, tends to go a little bit better again. So the little second question that I have here today is that somebody who used my book when their baby was 8 months old, and in the first week she was sleeping through, but since turning 10 months she's no longer doing this. She's waking an hour after being put to bed. She cries, clutching to Mum's chest, and she's now waking 3 to 4 times through the night, and Mum's not sure where she's going wrong. She says she doesn't know if it's whether she's able to sit up or stand up, and could I give you some suggestions? And I suppose I thought this question was interesting because it's not unusual. Your sleep practices are really vulnerable, and I'm not saying that they'll always be really vulnerable, but once you've worked on sleep, then it's not unusual for it to, once you've had to work on sleep, it's not unusual for things to be quite fragile, and little things that you let slip that you're not even aware of. So the first thing you need to do is read the book again. Read the book as if it's the first time all over again, and go back to basics, because we don't have a huge amount of alternatives. I suspect often when sleep deteriorates, timing is slipping. all of the time. Bedtime is getting later and later. It doesn't have to be late by too much. Like even 20 minutes later has a huge impact on a child who's not now routinely sleeping through the night. So I really encourage you to go back to balancing out the day, making sure that the gap between the last nap and bedtime doesn't exceed 3 to 4 hours. Do that really tight, nice early bedtime. And more importantly, I make sure that that last feed is at least 45 minutes before bedtime. And go back to stage 1. Go back and use this stay and support approach beside the cot, and then begin to work through the stages as outlined in the chapter. I have a quick look here. What chapter is the stages to sleep? Chapter 11. So just to work on that basis. And then the final question that I wanted to cover for you today is somebody that, again, has been trying to use the book, or rather using the book to try to 10-month-old sleep better. They're just 2 weeks in and they're really struggling. They're trying to reduce the input every night, but he ends up getting upset and they have to calm him down and with stroking and shushing and distraction techniques. It takes 40 minutes to get him down, and I'm not even slightly close to being out of the room. I don't know what to do and what I'm doing wrong, and if you had any tips. So I suppose first of all we have to look at the whole picture to see, why, what can we do slightly differently? What can we do a little bit better? And I suppose the first thing I'm always going to look at, and I'll always drive you insane, is timing. Because timing makes up the biggest part of a lot of the issues that you guys experience. So I would want you to be as tight as possible in the time. I meet so many people that say to me, I'm doing your timings, he's in bed asleep for 7:30, 7:45. But that's not actually my timing. My timing is much tighter than that. My timing is in bed asleep for 7 as you are trying to improve the situation. So that's the first thing in this instance. The second thing is, don't worry about trying to get out of the room. Like, meet your baby where they're at. Getting out of the room is brilliant in terms of that's a goal. And I suppose it's what we describe as being best practice. But if it's not there to be had at the moment, meet your baby where they're at. And I would suggest that use all this, stay in stage 1. Use the stroke and focus on your child being less upset. But make sure that you're honouring the backstory, because this devil is in the detail. And again, you will struggle if you're not as streamlined as what I propose at the start. And then nothing to do with this family, but one thing that keeps coming up in different messages that I see about when you're working on things is that you're working on the overnight, but then at 6 or 7 o'clock you bring your baby into the bed for a quick cuddle. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that, I do think it undermines the sleep work, because it means that you settle, and then ultimately bring them into the bed. And even if they never go back to sleep, there's nothing to say that all night long they're not going, is this the time, is this the time, is this the time, and then looking to come into the bed with you. And that is undermining all of your hard work. So try your best to go back and read the book. Pretty much everything that I'd ever tell you to do is in there, unless we're working in an individual capacity. And again, those small things that I say undermine your sleep work need to be honoured at the start in an effort to improve your situation. And again, I am planning to post more today on those coping strategies when you're not getting enough sleep. But I do think that for those of you who are finding yourselves in in a kind of bad place where your child's sleep is concerned, the book is a great resource. The Baby Sleep Solution, the link is in my bio. There's loads of reviews here on it. And again, when things aren't going well, like today now, we cover questions, we cover some things to try and underpin the work that you're doing and to support you as you're doing it. And again, if you want to read more about working with me directly, you can do that on my website, which is sleepmatters.ie. And I look forward to seeing you here again soon.